All right, welcome everybody. This is our first live event. I'm Rusty Lindquist. I'm founder and CEO of Life Engineering. Life Engineering is all about powering human achievement. Human achievement for individuals, for leaders, for organizations. We as an organization believe in the potential that lies within you. We believe in that reservoir, that reserve of potential that rests just below the surface. And there's moments in your life, I know there's moments in your life where you have sensed that potential within you. Those moments where you can just sense that there's something more substantive, something more meaningful, something more powerful, and it just sits just below the surface and you just sometimes can't quite access it. And then there are those moments in life where you tap into that inner reserve, that inner strength, that inner potential, those moments where you just shine. We believe in that potential. We believe that potential is in you. You don't even have to create it. You just have to access it. It's within you. It's this vast reservoir of strength and power and potential that you have the ability to activate and unleash. Life Engineering is here to help you do just that, to activate and unleash that potential. Now, as we look at the activation of the potential that lies within us, and as we look at how do we perform in our lives against the objectives and the initiatives and the things that matter most to us, and we look at the landscape of performance, and we ask ourselves, how do we really dial in? How do we dial into this life of peak performance? How do we sustainably and durably live in a state of peak performance? And what we find as we sort of look at this landscape of peak performance and we try to dial in on what this looks like, we tend to focus almost exclusively. You could even say we fixate on two main aspects. The first aspect is time. It's how do we use our time? And there's all kinds of solutions to help us manage our time and be more productive. And time management is incredibly important. Time is the great leveler. Time is so valuable. It's one of the most valuable resources that we have. And because it's so valuable and it's so abundant and it's so clear and there's so many solutions for it, it tends to monopolize our focus when we try to think of how do we sort of sustain this peak performance. The other thing that we focus on, of course, is talent. We try to build our talent and optimize our talent. We try to grow and develop, and we invest heavily in the development of our talent. And you look at both time and talent, and what we do with our talent and in the time that we have is really manifest as behaviors. And because what we do with our time and talent is manifest as behaviors, like these behaviors are observable. And part of the problem with the observability of behaviors is that because these are so observable, they're easy to focus on. And so we tend to focus almost exclusively on time and talent when it comes to performance. But in reality, when it comes to performance, there's something more. There's an additional aspect of performance, and we pay too little attention to this component, and that's energy. It's the energy we have for the lives that we live and the work that we do and the things that we're engaged in. It's how satisfied we are and how engaged we are in the work that we do and the relationships that we're in and the objectives that we set and the initiatives that we pursue and the outcomes that we desire. And of time, talent, and energy, it turns out that the research shows that actually, when it comes to performance, energy matters most. In fact, you think of this and you ask yourself, here's a hypothetical scenario. Imagine there's two people. The first individual has just limitless time, just as much time as they could possibly need. And they have tons of talent, but they don't care at all about the thing that you've asked them to do. Now imagine a second person, and this second person has limited time and limited talent, but just endless energy, endless enthusiasm and passion and emotion and desire to do something, which of those people are you going to bet on? It's the second person every single time, because when it comes to time, talent, and energy, in the landscape of performance, energy actually matters most. Energy is the thing that is that has the most impact on whether or not we are able to achieve the outcomes that we desire and that allow us to stay in a state of peak performance. But the problem is, because energy is usually below the waterline of our individual attention, like, we don't really pay attention to it. We don't really know how to measure it. We don't really know how to manage it. We don't really understand it. And because we don't understand it and we don't measure it, we don't manage it. And because we don't manage it, it doesn't improve. And you look at your own life, look at your life and ask yourself the question, what am I the best at? What am I the most successful at? As you we live our lives, we have multiple contexts in which we live our lives. At Life Engineering, we call these critical contexts. These are the contexts of our life that matter most, that matter enough that we should be deliberate about. They matter enough where we should dedicate time and we should dedicate our talent and build our talent, and we should measure and manage our energy towards those things. But as you look at your own life, ask yourself, what are the things that you are best at? And what you'll find is it's not the things that you give the most time to. It's not the things that you actually have the most talent towards. It's the things that you are most sustainably and durably able to maintain your energy toward. And that might be your golf game. It might be your computer game. It might be, your social media following. It might, whatever it is, like, what you'll find is that the things that you succeed at most in life are the things for which you have the most energy. So then the question is, okay, if energy really matters most, well, how do I measure that? How do I manage that? How do I sustain this energy? How do I even get optics on it? Because it's below the waterline of my attention. I don't really know, other than sort of this general sentiment of, do I feel engaged? Do I feel energized? Do I feel passionate? Do I feel motivated? Other than this sort of vague sense of that energy, like, we don't really have many optics down there. And that's what we need to solve. In fact, it's interesting, this energy, the sentiment that we have for the things that we do, the relationships that we're in, the objectives that we've set, the initiatives that we pursue, the outcomes that we desire. It's interesting because what happens is, we develop our talent. And when we want to achieve something, and probably all of you guys did this, I know I did this, and most people do. The turn of the new year, what did you do? You sat down and you set some objectives for the new year, because why wouldn't you? This is an important sort of milestone in our lives, the turning of a year. And most of us take an opportunity at the turn of the year to ask ourselves, okay, what do I really want to accomplish in this new year? This is a really healthy process. But then all of a sudden, March comes, which is this month. And when March comes, it's like we've either entirely forgotten about those objectives, or we've done very little to achieve them, or we've lost all energy for them. This is a phenomenon that I witness, every year at the gym. I go to the gym religiously and relentlessly day after day. And between January and March, it is just crammed full. But all of a sudden in March, people stop coming, because all of a sudden they've lost energy for the objective that they set, that they want to get healthy, that they want to get fit, that they want to live a more healthy lifestyle. This is a natural human phenomenon. In fact, we're going to have a live event next Tuesday where we go through what we call the emotional architecture of life. And we'll break down why this happens, psychologically why this happens. So join us next Tuesday at this same time and we'll go through this. But inevitably and ultimately, our energy for the things that we want to do begins to fade. No matter how much time we've dedicated to it, when our energy begins to fade, and when we develop talent and we dedicate our time, what we expect out of ourselves, of course, is performance, right? And when we originally sort of set an objective, we have there's all of this energy and passion and enthusiasm that follows the first moment after we choose to do something, we choose to take action, we choose to move forward personally or professionally. And the problem is, at the beginning, we're full of energy, and so we get performance. But over time, and ultimately and inevitably, the energy we have towards the objectives that we have set begin to fade. And don't hyperventilate when you find this in yourself, because this is natural. This is the normal course of humanity. Our energy ebbs and flows, emotion and energy and willpower. This is perishable. And as it begins to diminish, so too then does the impact of our time and talent. And what's left is the performance gap. We no longer get out of our time and our talent the performance that we used to get. And it's not because of time, and it's not because of talent. It's entirely because of energy. In fact, what the research shows is that of those people who set an objective and choose to go perform in some capacity, when they disengage and lose energy, they are actually only delivering about 20% of their total performance capacity. Think of that, 20% of their total performance capacity. Now, when you ask yourself and you sort of look over the landscape of your lives and you think of, okay, what are the things that matter most to me? What are the 3, 4, 5, or 6 things, categories, contexts of my life that are most important? And you ask yourself, what is the level of my energy? How engaged am I in each of those aspects of my life? And when you think, wow, I might be able to increase my performance in those categories by as much as 80%, simply by perfecting the art of measuring, of understanding, and of optimizing the energy inside of you, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a profound transformation about the outcomes you're able to get out of your life by reaching as much as 80 or increasing by your performance by as much as 80% simply by learning to optimize for energy. Yes, you should still build talent. Yes, you should still build time, or you should still find the time for the things that matter most. But when you add energy back to the bottom of that iceberg, that energy creates the mass that drives back up the impact of time and talent so that you reach that state of peak performance. So the question then is, well, how do I measure the energy that I have for the things that I care about? What drives that energy? What activates that energy? And how do I more consistently and recurringly be able to access that energy and unleash that energy for the things in my life that I really care about? Life engineering has spent the last 20 years studying the science of energy, of this ability to activate and unleash that potential within us that's lying just below the surface. And as we looked at this and we tried to figure out, okay, well, what is it that really drives energy? We tried to ask ourselves, all right, well, what are the industries that have most figured out the energy landscape? And when it comes to energy, we're really talking about engagement. And so when you ask yourself, all right, well, what is the industry that most understands engagement? One industry comes top of mind. And of course, that's the gaming industry. Gamification is literally the science and technology of how to manufacture addiction. And we're so good at it that it's actually working. We are literally manufacturing addiction through the science and technology of engagement, of gamification, game mechanics, gamification, game theory, game design. We took those fundamental elements as we surveyed and studied these processes over countless, gaming platforms. And then we cross-referenced that with motivational psychology and sports psychology and cognitive psychology and behavioral psychology, industrial organizational psychology, behavioral economics. And what we found was amazing. It was astounding. Over 20 years of research, what surfaced was what we call the 16 fundamental elements of human achievement. These are the elements that activate the energy inside of us. These are the elements that when you go and you play a video game, a computer game, when you are looking at a social media development, when you're trying to gamify an app, whatever it is, these are the mechanics of gamification. And what life engineering has done is we have created a life management system. It's a platform that allows you to gamify your life. it allows you to tap into this very same science and technology that we know powers engagement. And of course, now you know that engagement is the number one thing that powers performance, which is the number one thing that will determine whether or not you achieve the outcomes you desire and whether or not you're able to activate and unleash that potential within you. And we today are announcing the rollout of our early access membership to this life management system. It's an opportunity for you to activate the energy lying latent within you, to power the personal development that you're capable of so that you can reach and achieve the objectives that you desire and live the life that you're capable of living. Now, if you ask yourself, if you imagine your life 1 week from today, if you were able to activate that energy towards all of the aspects of your life that truly matter, if you were able to activate that energy and sustainably and durably maintain that energy towards the things that matter most, where would you be a week from now? Where would you be a month from now? Now, where would you be a year from now if you were actually able to employ the same mechanics that we find in games into your life? If you were able to access a membership where we could drip to you content every single day and every week over the course of a year and help you build a platform and a system for achieving excellence, where would you be? What would you be capable of? Ask yourself, where would you be today if you had done that last year? That's what we invite you to participate in. We will take you on a journey through the 16 elements where you will learn about perspective, how the story you tell yourself is the story most likely to come true, and how the power of shaping the lens that you look through transforms your life. This is the first step. We will teach you about your identity and how to shape and form your identity and what your identity is all about. We will give you access to tools like the Identity Builder that helps you figure out who you are and what you are good at and what you are capable of achieving. From identity, we will help you determine your objectives so that you have a clear path forward. You will notice in all of the game mechanics and the game designs, the ability to have a very clear, rock solid objectives is one of the very first things that is accomplished. And so we have to choose, where are you going to go? Where are you going to deploy your time and your talent and your energy? Let's be very thoughtful, because the choosing and selection of our objectives determines the path we take through life. We will walk you through how to create a plan, a way forward strategy, and all of the latest science and technology on how to plan your way forward. We will walk you through the next element, which is relationships. The idea that the journeys that we involve others on are the journeys that we're most likely to be successful in. So who is on your journey? And how do you get the right people on that journey? How do you identify which people should be on that journey? We will talk about mentor and help you find a guide, a mentor, a coach, someone who can help you along the way. We will talk about the element of space. Space is this ability to access the resources and the things you need to move forward. Once you know who you are and where you're going, and you have a way forward strategy of how you're going to get there, do you have what you need to move forward? It's the permission, it's the autonomy, it's the trust, it's the resources, it's the tools. We will walk you through environment and the impact environment has on your engagement and your ability to move forward. We will walk you through the element of momentum, because people in motion tend to stay in motion, and people at rest tend to stay at rest. There's this energy of movement that fuels more movement. And so let's architect your way forward strategy to optimize for this element of momentum. We'll walk you through alignment and this ability to understand and know that we stay on course. We will walk you through investment, which is this ability to feel like there's skin in the game, that you have something on the line. Because if you're not invested, if you're not adequately invested in the objectives that you're trying to pursue, then you're most likely not ever going to achieve them. We'll talk about the art of scorekeeping and how our behaviors always adapt to the scores we keep. And so we have to be very selective and careful about those scores that we keep. We'll walk you through this element of impact. This is an achievement element. These answer the questions, is it worth it? Is the journey I'm on worth it? Because if the journey you're on isn't worth it, you can't sustainably access the energy you need to get to the end of that road. The feeling like you're making a difference is one of those elements. The feeling like you're growing and you're getting better personally or professionally is another one of those aspects that answers the question, is this journey worth it? Next is this value, which is, do I feel like the efforts that I'm investing, is it resulting in value to me in some tangible way? And then finally, am I able to live a life of balance, of restoration and renewal? These are the 16 fundamental elements that activate the energy within you. And in this series, in this membership, we will teach you each of these elements. We will give you access to online learning and apps and tools and resources that allow you to build a system by which you can more sustainably and durably and reliably move forward in your life. What we've done is we've taken those 16 elements and we've baked it into a process that we call the human achievement process. In this process, we help you get oriented so that you can experience the confidence of knowing who you are, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. There's the elements of assemble that allow you to experience the power of having what you need to move forward and so that you're ready for the journey ahead. There's the pillar of act, which allows you to experience the thrill that comes when you start to move forward and make meaningful progress. And then finally, the pillar of achieve that allows you to experience the fulfillment that comes when you experience the results that you're capable of. And then here on the side, we will arm you with the systems. These are the tools and the technologies and the diagnostics based on 20 years of science and research that allow you to make sure that you stay on path. And then finally, the recovery solutions so that when you find you're off path, you know how to get back on. Now this allows you to discover your potential, to activate and unleash that energy that's inside of you, that reservoir of personal strength that's lying just below the surface that you felt in the past and that still is there and is just beyond reach. We will help you reach that. In fact, what we're doing is we are inviting you to become a member today. You can simply go to lifeengineering.com, and it's ordinarily $6.99, but with a 30% off coupon, you can use the coupon code early30, and we're giving the first 100 people who register the opportunity to take 30% off of that price and be the first to access this program that we're just launching today. So this is the performance iceberg, and it's a new lens. It's a new way of looking at how do you live a life of peak performance, because it's not just about time and talent, it's about energy. And energy tends to be this thing, this aspect that we don't pay enough attention to. But once you learn to pay attention to the energy inside of you, once you learn and you're armed with the framework of understanding that energy, how to activate it, how to unleash it, and how to more consistently and sustainably deploy it, you will be able to reach the outcomes that you are truly capable of. And we would love to have you on this journey. Now, before we go, let's open it up for some questions. I'm here today with Ellie. Ellie, what questions do we have? About the membership, about the energy iceberg, about performance, whatever it is.
The first question is about memberships. It's just a general question. What does the membership include?
Good question. So it's a 1-year membership that where what we will do is over the course of this year, we will drip content to you. This will be content that is hosted in our online academy. And in each week, you will receive content, you will receive activities, you will sometimes receive access to new tools, diagnostics, and instruments on the website that allow you to, for instance, take the engagement assessment, which allows you to actively and accurately measure how engaged you are in the aspects of your life that matter most. And this drip content lasts and over the course of an entire year. So that's what you get with your membership. What else?
We have another question. There's so much on here. How do I know where to start?
Good question. This is so what we will do is every week we will send to you an email that has within it the activities, the content to consume that week, the activities to do that week, and the things you can do to keep moving forward. This is a guided journey, and there will be a social component of it, a group component of that, where I will be accessible to be able to answer questions. Our science team will be accessible, at least only for early access. This accessibility to me and the science team won't persist to the other memberships. It'll only be in the early access, but we will give you the ability to know every single week what to do next. So we'll guide you on this journey. All right, great. Well, we're out of time. Thank you for joining our live today, and we hope to see you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can just email me personally, rusty@lifeengineering.com, or you can go to www.lifeengineering.com or follow us here on one of our social channels. Thank you.